Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Hunter of the Commonwealth mod, which is being made by user ZZYXZZ. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a fun new harvesting and butchering mechanic for the game that is there to add a little bit of extra immersion and realism. And I quite enjoy mods like this for this style of game, as having that little bit of extra immersion just is fun to me, especially when you mix it with other like camping mods and things of that variety. Now, as for exactly what we're gonna get here, it's pretty simple. If we jump on down to where I've got one of the old abandoned corpses of poor Randy here, typically in the game when you kill an animal, you're gonna get their inventory here with their meat, their hides, etc., and you just simply take that stuff and you're done. Now, with Hunter of the Commonwealth installed, you're actually gonna have to harvest or butcher your kills to actually get those same things. Now let's take a look at exactly how that does work, and while I'm heading back up here, I should mention a couple of requirements. For this to function, you are going to need the Automatron DLC as well as Far Harbor and Nuka World, and on the mod end, you're going to need the Fallout 4 script extender as well as the mod configuration menu for everything to function correctly. And once you do, now whenever you do, say, spawn in a radstag like this one here, and then of course put it down, well, now, with this poor radstag, look at that, there is nothing in its inventory for us to, well, pick up like normal. So how do we go about harvesting and butchering this poor animal? Well, you just gotta go to that examine option there by hitting spacebar. And there you go, you get this lovely new bit of UI, which gives you the options available for the animal, which will change depending on what you are wanting to harvest, as well as a dispose button here for you to, you know, dispose of the body, and a cancel button should you ever wish to just, you know, bounce out and leave. Now, as for the options we do have, butchering is going to be how you're going to get the meat. Harvesting is how you're going to get the more specialized materials, so on a radstag it's going to be bones, for a bloatfly it's going to be bloatfly gland, for skinning, of course, that's how you're going to get those hides. Now, there is another option here if you are working on that one weird Brotherhood of Steel mission where you got to collect blood, there will be a collect blood option in here as well. And of course, again, dispose just disposes of said body. Now, you'll also notice up here we have an average processing time. That's because anytime you click one of these, let's just go ahead and butcher, the screen's gonna fade to black and time is going to pass because, hey, guess what? Butchering an animal does take some time. And you notice we got our meat. We also got some experience. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So time has gone by, and that's why we get, in that UI, an average processing time. And here's the fun thing about this. That time is gonna change depending on your tool. I have in my inventory currently a ripper, which is the best tool to use so far that I've found for actually gathering the materials from an animal. So if you use something like, say, a switchblade or just a normal knife, that time's gonna be a bit longer than if you're doing it with a ripper. So you are gonna have to take that time into account for, you know, if you're doing anything a bit time sensitive within the game. Now, going back to that experience we saw a moment ago, let's actually just go ahead and harvest so we get that experience to pop back up again. And we'll harvest some bone, which is nice. But you'll notice up the top left-hand corner, we have our current hunting level, there we are, and our experience to the next, currently 8 of 100. That level is basically going to determine also, besides your tool, how quickly you do harvest slash butcher the animals here. The higher your level, the quicker it's going to go. So basically, you know, the more you do this, the quicker you're going to become, which makes sense because, hey, you're a more experienced hunter at this point, so it's not going to take you as long to do things, which is all pretty cool. So let's finish up with this last bit of the rad stag and dispose of the body there. Excellent. And the rad stag will now be gone. We've collected all the hide, meat, and bones and got up to 19 points of experience towards our first level, which is pretty cool. I do like that. Now let's spawn in a couple of other animals here just for, you know, rounding out the experience and showing off how the options change there depending on what it is you are harvesting. So there we go. Let's pop all them in. Go ahead and kill all. Beautiful. Excellent. So we've got a blood bug, a bloat fly, and even a glowing one ghoul. Now, I wanted to show this because, well, like I said, on most animals, well, all animals, you're not going to have anything to loot like normal. But on things like ghouls, raiders, etc., you're still going to get stuff like this in here because, well, of course, you're not going to want to harvest a bandit for bottle caps. That's a little weird. But, you know, with hunting, you are going to have to do that for everything. But things like ghouls, oh, they still have stuff. Now for this is a glowing one, and so the only thing we can collect off this guy is actually nuclear material, because, I mean, he's a glowing one. Any other ghoul, or things like bandits even, the only option you're going to have on here is dispose of body, which, hey, is quite nice for cleaning up after an attack on one of your bases. But yes, for other things other than animals, only the glowing ones are gonna give you stuff so that you can harvest that nuclear material. And you can see there we also got a little bit of irradiated blood, which is also showing up in here. It seems to be one slight, I don't know about glitch, but maybe oversight with the glowing ones there. And yeah, we can then just, you know, do that and dispose of the body again. And you saw there before disposing the body that the collect nuclear materials was still there. I think that might be a glitch because you can kind of keep doing that over and over at the moment, which is a little bit weird, but, you know, dispose the body, it is now gone. Now, if we go over to this bloat fly, we've got the butcher and harvest, but we no longer have skin because, of course, there's no skin on a bloat fly, it's carapace. So if we go to harvest it, though, you'll see we do get those bloatfly glands, as I did mention before. Excellent. And who cares about the butchering? Let's just go ahead and dispose of that body. Gotta clean up your mess. Wonderful. And now heading on over to our blood bug here. Whoops, hit spacebar a bit too early. And this one, again, just butcher, harvest, no skinning. So let's harvest this one and take a look at the unique harvestable we get from that one there. There we are, the blood bug that word. Getting tongue-tied there. Wonderful. Let's dispose of that body, too. It's a very fun, useful little mod, and I quite like that it does fade to black, advance time. We do have the fun, you know, different immersive bits, but that's not all. That's not all we get besides harvesting, skinning, etc. We also do get a cool new item that can be found in any crafting station in the world to make hunting a bit more interesting. And that is, if we go to the Hunter of the Commonwealth, you can make a simple cooking pot, which basically allows you to do your cooking on the road. Now, we have seen something similar to this in several other camping mods that do exist, and so this may kind of overlap with some of those things, but for just one simple cooking pot, some plastic, rubber, and steel, you get this simple cooking pot, which to place in the world is, well, quite easy. Just go into your inventory, over into miscellaneous, and simply drop it into the world. Whoops, meant to hit tab, there we are. And there you go, we have the cooking station. Now in here we have the beverages of Dirty Wastelander and purified water. We can create adhesive, get sugar and salt from various things, and then do a roasting and soup production, which is quite nice. And since we did pick up a lot of grilled radstag there, well, we can make that on the go, nice and simple. And whenever you're done with your cooking or processing of your kills here, you can just simply look at it again, hit spacebar, and pack it up, and be on your way, which is wonderful. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about is with the mod configuration menu, because there are some interesting things in here for that. So if we go to the Hunter of the Commonwealth, we have the ability to turn it off or on. You do have an interesting thing here to check your current weapon with the U key. Basically, this will tell you when you have a weapon equipped and you hit U, it'll give you a rough idea of how quickly you'll be able to process your animals. So let's actually exit out real quick to that, hit U, and you can see this weapon is excellent. So we won't need much time in the slightest for us to process a carcass. Now, if we just undo our weapon choice there, take off the Ripper, because it does need to be in your hand, and hit U once more, well, you got no weapon equipped, and so you can still process, at least I've been able to, but it is going to be slower for you to do. And that is always fun that does adjust depending on the weapon you got. Now, next is with gameplay. Now, if you select this Use Test Tubes, that is specifically going to be for collecting blood. And if you have that on, you're going to have test tubes in your inventory to collect said blood. Now, we also have a meat multiplier, so if you want to gain a lot more meat, you're fine. If you don't want the fade to black or advanced time to happen, you can turn those off. We also have a modifier for the time for butchering, nuclear materials, skin, harvest, disposing, etc. So you can adjust all these if you want them to be higher or lower than average. And we even have a multiplier for experience so that you can, get a little bit more out of things, which is pretty cool. So you do got a lot of ways that you can adjust this to your liking, which is always nice whenever you got some good options here with the MCM. Now, that is really all I've got left to talk about with this. It's just a fun little mod that adds in butchering and manual harvesting into the game for you to use, and goes great if you are someone who's wanting to be a bit more immersive and realistic with your playthroughs, especially with survival playthroughs, with it advancing time and, having that whole experience mechanic letting you get better and better at doing said harvesting. And it does, of course, also go quite well with the various camping mods that do exist out there on the Nexus for you to enjoy. So if you'd like to have a look at this one for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed, and you do come back for the next episode, when hopefully we'll be looking at another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, you have a good one.